We have a major move that is happening right now while a lot of the retail market is still sleeping. Okay. What am I talking about here? This is the total three charts. If you guys been following my channel, you guys know that I've been talking about this chart and what the significance is. Okay, so let's just go into the monthly time frame real quick. The total three chart is basically all altcoins excluding Ethereum. Okay, so you have the entire altcoin markets being represented on this chart, right? And why is this important? This is the monthly time frame, and what I'm talking about here is we're at a resistance that was set back in 2021. Okay, this was November 2021. Okay, I'm talking about right here. The resistance is about 1.15 trillion, just to be round number sake. Okay, and we have basically tapped 1.16 trillion today. Is this going to be breaking out? Despite some mixed signals I'm seeing on the weekly time frame, the monthly time frame. Okay, I have seen exceptions where these bearish signals could get invalidated, especially during major breakouts. So something to be looking out for. We're going to be taking a deeper dive into the charts later in this video. I'm going to give you guys more of what I think about these charts. Of course, a lot of this is still going to depend on Bitcoin because that is still the driver of this market. If Bitcoin pumps or has more room to pump, that's going to be very good for your altcoins. However, if Bitcoin dumps from here, that could ruin everything. Okay? Now, we're also going to be taking a look into a few altcoin setups, answering some questions by some of my viewers. I'm going to be taking a look into Grass, which is an AI token, AI16Z, which I am long in, right? I have a long position in AI16Z. Also, going to be taking a look into Arweave, which is also another AI token. Okay, see what's going on in these markets. What are their current trading setups, price targets? Also, going to be taking a look into some major crypto news first before diving into the charts. I'll give you guys my instant reaction to some of these headlines. So let's go ahead and put our critical thinking hat on and react to some of these headlines because sometimes they could be ridiculous. All right, first piece here is by Crypto Potato. Bitcoin price unfazed at 116K despite Trump's latest threats against Russia and China. Yeah, so I heard about this. I just read some of this right now about putting about even more sanctions on Russia and China oil. That could be major, but I'm not seeing too much effect on the markets right now. So something to be keeping an eye out on. I don't really have too much thoughts on the war, right? And how any insights on the war, right? Because I mostly pay attention to financial news, and I try to understand it as much as possible, and I'll tell you what I know and what I don't know as I do. Just get more insights myself, right? So good to see that the markets haven't really been affected yet. This is by TradingView. Bitcoin prices top 116K as traders ramp up risk bets ahead of the big Fed event. So yes, this is the event that I've been talking about. It is going to be happening September 17th. I think that is on Wednesday. That is basically where the FOMC press conference takes place. I pay very close attention almost at every one of these meetings because it could get very volatile. I try not to open new leverage positions ahead of that event just because it could get pretty volatile. However, I think this one is going to be more bullish, right? Because it looks like the Fed is going to start its rate cut cycle, right? Which is going to drive cheaper money into the markets, which is going to push asset prices up, especially risk on assets. Okay. So this is definitely something to be watching out for. Let's take a look into the CME Watch tool, where I still see a 100% probability of an ease. I don't think this is going to go down because we've already gone through some major economics reports, the PPI, the CPI this week, and everything's looking pretty good. However, of course, the labor market is not looking as good, and that's gonna urge. I think that's basically what is driving this Fed rate cut cycle, right? So, I think this is gonna stand right heavily. 100% right now, uh, at, in favor of a rate cut here. So, something to be watching out for. And the other thing to be watching out for is their summary of economics projections, because last time it was projected that we were going to get two rate cuts this year, right? However, if we end up getting two or more, I think that is going to be very even more bullish for the markets, because now we're expecting a faster decrease in the interest rates. All right, next piece here is by Coinpedia. Why the crypto market is up today. Here are the top two reasons. Okay, so let's just dive into it. Two main catalysts are fueling today's surge. Federal Reserve rate cuts. Yes, I can't disagree with that. That has been, of course, my main thesis, right, on why this bull cycle is far from over. The next is, let's see here. It seems like it's the regulatory clarity through the Clarity Act. Okay, let's read some more into this because I don't know about this. The much anticipated Clarity Act, a market structure is a bill for crypto, is expected to pass soon. Insider believes this is why institutional buyers and companies are rapidly moving into crypto, okay? Those in the know realize this, and that's why they're buying today. I'm not sure if that's why they're buying like today, but maybe it's been happening for like, over time. So yeah, I'm sure they're not all buying a huge lump sum today, right? So that's, that sounds. That can't be true. So yeah, it seems like the Clarity Act. If you guys have any insights about the Clarity Act, leave it in the comment section below. Because I am more of a charts guy, and while I am getting to know, while I'm reading the news to you guys, I am also learning as we speak about the news. Now, next piece here is by Cointelegraph. Bitcoin all-time highs due in 2 to 3 weeks as price fills 117K futures gap. Now, I don't really study the futures gap. I study the charts in terms of technical analysis, and you guys would know that if you guys been following my channel. But they're talking about the CME gap here, and why this could drive Bitcoin into all-time highs in 2 to 3 weeks. I think there is a good chance that Bitcoin reach new highs in 2 to 3 weeks, but there are also some mixed signals to be looking out for. Nothing in this market is 100%, right? If anyone tells you that this is 100% gonna happen, I would doubt that person even more. I gauge my predictions in terms of probabilities. I do think there is a pretty good probability that we see new highs in Bitcoin in 2 to 3 weeks, which is going to be very good for the altcoins, as I've been saying. Okay, so let's read some of these key points. Also, so CME gap. Okay, bulls must avoid that level into resistance, turning that level into resistance, of course. Um, or new local lows await. Okay, analysis says Bitcoin all-time highs could come in a matter of weeks. Yes. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into next. Coinpedia. Arthur Hayes says Bitcoin outshines stocks, gold, and predicts 200K ahead. Well, stocks is actually ahead of Bitcoin right now because stocks, S&P 500 specifically, has actually broken out of a bearish pattern, right? I pointed out that to you guys yesterday, and that could be a front-running signal for Bitcoin, but that has actually broken out first. So I don't think Bitcoin is exactly outshining stocks in that sense just yet, but it could get pretty crazy, and I think 200K is very well in the cards for Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and go to Bitcoin real quick because I think this is gonna be worth discussing. Okay, let's come over here to the daily time frame where I have talked about a rising wedge pattern. Okay, which is a bearish pattern. Bitcoin needs to break out of this pattern here. Otherwise, the breakdown target, if it breaks down here, for example, breakdown target would still be just about 75K here, a little above 75K. Very important, Bitcoin breaks out of this bearish pattern. Otherwise, we're going to see some downside in altcoins as well. Now, there is a sub pattern within the rise and wedge pattern here, which is a falling wedge pattern, which is bullish and has broken to the upside. Price target for this breakout here will be about 121.5K. Price targets are estimates only. There could be more, there could be less. Okay. It very much depends on the type of market we're in. Bull market, bear market, sideways market. I still think we're in a bull market. I am long on Bitcoin. I am long on quite a bit of the altcoins here, but these are just my opinions, like the entirety of this video, and it's not financial advice. You gotta form your own opinions. I know there's still bears out there. That's not me right now. Okay. So let's go ahead. So this is definitely another chart to be watching out for. Aside from total 3, because because this thing could still look like it could be breaking out here. It has already invalidated, or it could be invalidating this bearish divergence on this daily time frame here, which usually indicates a pullback, but that hasn't happened yet. Okay. There's going to be bearish divergence on the 3-day, weekly, and monthly time frame as well. Let's see if they get invalidated. Like I said, there has been exceptions, but in the usual case, they do result in a pullback. Let's go ahead and take a look into altcoin setups. Altcoin setups. AI16Z here. I have some of AI16Z, and I am looking to take a short target profit off this position because I am on leverage with this coin. And when I am on leverage, I don't want to carry it for too long. Okay, not like my spot positions. Now, this is the 3-day time frame. I've been talking about this for AI16Z, and what's going on here is that it broke out of this pattern here. This is the 3-day time frame. Back in the 3-day candle of February 6th. Price target would be about $1.70. Okay, it broke out of it. Hasn't done a lot at all for almost the entirety of this year, right? And it has also broke out of the smaller falling wedge pattern. Price target here would be about 30 cents. It hasn't hit that yet, but these breakouts are still valid because the price action is still above those top trend lines of those breakouts of the patterns it broke out of. Now, what I'm seeing here, the latest on this daily time frame here, I talked about this last time. Falling wedge pattern. Why should you guys know falling wedge patterns? Because they're bullish patterns that has a higher chance of breaking to the upside. And they're probably the most common patterns you guys will see in a very simple and effective pattern that will give you a lower risk entry. Okay, I'm not talking about the breakouts. I'm talking about when it's closer to the bottom with probably bullish divergence. That's what I usually look for, right? That is a lower risk entry, right? So it broke out back in September 8th. Price target for this breakout here would be about 17 cents. Let's see if it hits that price target, because I have seen breakouts that don't meet its price targets. Okay, you just gotta know that not everything in this market is a given. Okay, now let's just say if it hits that price target, the next level of resistance I'll be looking at would be about that 19 cents level where the orange line is. That is the daily 200 SMA for all types of significance. Let's go ahead and go to grass. Grass, which is an AI coin here, a bigger AI coin by market cap. One of my viewers asked me if grass could hit $3 again. I think based on this chart, it has a pretty good chance of hitting $3 again because it is in a falling wedge pattern. And like I've been saying, falling wedges are bullish patterns that has a higher chance of breaking to the upside. Okay. Now, let's just say if it breaks out to the upside by this point here, I'm going to move this measure move down a little bit more because it doesn't, I mean, it could break out by then, but let's just give it a little bit more time in case it doesn't. Now, the measure move here, based on this breakout point, for example, price target would be above $4 for grass. Okay, so like I've been saying, I think it has a pretty good chance of breaking $3 because of what I'm seeing here on the charts. But it's gonna depend a lot on Bitcoin. Okay, if Bitcoin dumps, a lot of these setups are not going to be worth much. Okay, so let's take a look into a lower time frame for grass and get some more clarity on what could be happening here. I talked about a falling wedge pattern here on the daily time frame, broke out of it back in, let me adjust for that, back in August 5th. Okay, price target here would be about 95 cents. It's already almost there. Okay, since the breakout here, it has also formed another falling wedge pattern. It broke out just about 2 days ago. I just want to say that I have adjusted some of these patterns. Okay, because they have, some of them has been invalidated, and as new data comes in, I will rechart the patterns and most appropriately. Okay, now price target here would be about just above $1.05 here for grass. So let's see if it hits that before getting to the bigger breakout here. That is going to be, it's still quite far away. That is still like double its price right now. So as the price action develops, I will keep you guys updated on grass if enough of you guys want to see it. So make sure to drop likes, comments, subscribes if you guys want to keep seeing any of these coins. Let's go ahead and go to Arweave and see what's happening in this coin here. Talked about this coin some time ago. Weekly time frame, very common theme. Falling wedge pattern, huge falling wedge pattern. There is a double bottom. There was a double bottom within this falling wedge pattern as well, so that's very good because that double confirms that there is a bullish setup here, and that will increase the success rate of that. Usually increase the success rate of a breakout. Now, it broke out here back in July 7th. Price target would be about $39 for the bigger breakout, the falling wedge. The smaller breakout for the double bottom will be about $14. Now, let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, there is a falling wedge pattern here on the daily time frame. Could Arweave break out of this one? Because the price target would be about almost $11. Okay, so this is basically what I'm seeing for Arweave. Let me know if you want to continue seeing any more of these coins or any other coins in this market. I'll pick a request to do for you guys on a daily basis.